It's April, baby. It's officially countdown to the draft. We are going to do an hour of NFL action. We're talking the latest news, team needs. We've got player guests. We've got great analysts. Somebody who has very hot takes is joining our show today on the draft, on what different teams should do at the quarterback position. Ben Kurt is hanging out on the program. JJ McCarthy, question mark? Exclamation point. We'll get to him. He's joining the program. Very excited to talk to him. We'll get a little Packers talk in there as well. A draft prospect, Jalen Wright, joining the show. Get to know him. We're going to have, listen, we got a Rattler. Spencer Rattler's in our studio. Not today, but this week. We're going to talk to all of the top prospects that are landing on your favorite NFL teams or your rival NFL teams. We've got it all covered on FanDuel TV, of course, on HBO Max, which re-airs at 2 Eastern every day. And you can catch us on YouTube right now live. We're live in our breaks. It's a lot of fun. And we also have Nyheim Hines, a new Cleveland Brown. Got to get used to that. Going to talk to him about how excited he is. We're going to talk to him about his time with the Bills, how it ended, what to look forward to, how he's feeling, of course, and his work with MDA, which is my favorite thing about it. Say we are the draft headquarters. Countdown to the draft with Up and Adams. Hamilton, except 3 seconds before going on air. I'm like, when is the draft? What's the date of the draft? I'm going to guess, 25th,
April,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're well less than a month away. We got to get going. We're doing one thing abouts. Every day we're going to tell you guys about a prospect, something about them that you need to know, where they're going to go, what their player comp is, that we're not really in the player comp game. But Hamilton, here, I mean, it's April 1st. It's go time.
Oh, yeah. And this is an exciting week. As you mentioned, we got Rattler coming up on the show. We're getting Joe Milton, too, who's been getting a lot of buzz lately at the quarterback position. Ladd McConkey, the Georgia receiver, who's a potential first-round pick, is going to join you in studio. So we're going full speed ahead here.
When is Caleb going to come on the show? Should we make a bet now? Because I think Caleb, if you're Caleb, you're like Devin Hester, Hall of Famer, who he looked up to. He loved Devin Hester. He came on the show and kind of like wasn't the best about me. Then that misconstrued, speaking of April Fools, April 1st, like completely like jokes on everyone, how they took out of context a little bit what Jalen Johnson was saying, star cornerback for the Bears, about Caleb Williams as well. I'm like, Caleb, we love Caleb. I want Caleb on the show, and I very much want to be well thought of by Caleb Williams. So we're trying to pull some strings, work some things out ahead of the draft as we see who Chicago decides to pick. Lots to get to. It is April Fool's Day. You know I do not subscribe. Most things in April I don't subscribe to. The draft is always a good time. We were going to go to Detroit. We had a team meeting about it. We're deciding not to go this year. I don't subscribe to my birthday. That's not a thing. And April Fool's also not a thing that I want to talk about. But I was looking at like things people fall for on April Fool's, and my makeup artist today said, oh, I just like will call somebody and say, you just posted a naked selfie on your Instagram story.
Oh, God.
Like they dropped a nude by accident, like while the phone was in their pocket. And I was like, that's traumatic. Like you shouldn't do that. But if there's anything that you guys have fallen for, always fall for, let me know. And we're going to go through some things because we're anti this day. So in a bizarro world, here's some things in the NFL that we are not falling for, okay? We are not going to... And listen, we have a beautiful partnership with FanDuel Sportsbook. You can go over there and have the time of your life and do all of that. But I am not, I don't think Hamilton is either as far as what we talked about yesterday. We are not falling and being fooled by dramatic shifts in draft odds, okay? And the story right now is JJ McCarthy's meteoric rise to fame here, okay? His odds to be the number 2 pick have jumped from over plus 2,000 at the start of the process to plus 600 last week, as you can see here. Oh, and that went from that to plus 450 just this morning. Listen, cool your jets, kids. Could he be the number 2 overall pick? Sure, I have nothing against it. I hope he is fine. He's fantastic. He crushed the combine, his pro day. We've heard reports that I've put it together, my own like sort of thesis and things that make sense that he could be in play for the Commanders. Why not? But am I letting this sway me into believing that he's absolutely 100% the guy over Jaden Daniels? Absolutely not. For the people really trying to read into these odds, and everyone does, and they should, I get it. Remember what happened last year with Will Levis, okay? Not only did he leave me scorned and did not show up on my show and completely stood me up, I'll never get over it, but when there was this Reddit post, do you guys remember this? There was a Reddit post that pushed him from plus 4,000 to be the #1 overall pick all the way down to plus 500. So what you have to do, don't be April fooled by this. I take every draft rumor with a little grain of salt, like I like my shots of tequila, okay? Especially when the odds change, you know, after last year, into this year, into this month. I'm not getting fooled again by crazy shifts in odds like we're seeing with J.J. McCarthy. We have Ben Kurt on the show. He is a quarterback guru. He knows many a thing. I can't wait to talk to him, not only about him, but we're going to, of course, get my Madden 101 lesson in for April with him as well. Now, the other thing I'm not getting fooled by on this April 1, going into the draft, going into this next season, I'm not going to be fooled into accepting any of this Trevor Lawrence is a bust BS that's been going on after the Jags' late season collapse. Hear me out. And by the way, further fueled by the Mac Jones trade, of course. I'm not trying to make excuses for Trevor. I met him, like him quite a bit. Objectively, I said this all last year. A guy like uses his body, throws it around, uses his legs. The struggles for Trevor were so much about the injuries, so much more than anything else. He had a knee sprain in week 6. We just like to forget these things. They're all in a vacuum of like stats and whatever. Week 13, he sprains his ankle. Concussion, week 15, AC joint sprain in his throwing shoulder to top it off in week 16. And I know it's like you got to play tough. Everybody's hurt at those times. But him especially, the effect of those things when you look at the numbers, it's clear. Before the ankle sprain on Monday night, this is just data. Put this in your, in your purview when you're thinking about this. He was dealing and had the Jags in prime position for their playoff appearance. Once the injury started, his completion percentage plummeted, the passer rating fell off by 20 points, and the Jags couldn't win a game. I caught up with him Super Bowl week, sitting in New York in Seth Meyers' dressing room. Seth Meyers popped on. It was all fun and well. And then I hung out with him at the ping pong thing at Super Bowl. He didn't want to be caught making excuses, but it is clear that injuries were a big factor for Trevor.
At the end of the day, if you put yourself on the field, you got to perform and play your best. And I didn't think I was able to do that towards the end of the season, which is disappointing. But definitely looking forward to getting healthy this offseason, and my body needs it, and it's been good getting to rest a little bit. So I'm feeling a lot better now.
I loved how it looked there. Oh my God, my glam was glamming. The ending there, what you just said, he's looking forward to get healthy. He wants a real chance to heal up. Doug Peterson made protecting Trevor his primary talking point at the league meeting just a week ago. And what did they do? They did their thing. They got him Mitch Morse this offseason. That's a nice little upgrade at center. If the Jags can keep him clean this season, I fully expect a bounce back from him. So I'm going to let the fools keep talking doom and gloom for the Jags. I'm not fooled on this April 1 about Trevor. Finally, the other thing I'm not getting fooled about going into this draft season, going into then the rest of the world and the months that lead into OTAs and training camp and so on. I'm not going to get caught being fooled into thinking that the Super Bowl hangover is a thing for the Niners this year. I'm not going to get fooled into thinking the Niners cannot win the Super Bowl this year. That's really it. And if you're not familiar with the Super Bowl hangover and what it really is, it sort of gets cannibalized and taken out of context. What it actually is a theory that the loser of the Super Bowl falls apart the next year. Saw it with the Falcons, 28-3, of course. They couldn't sort of recapture the magic they saw the year before. Eagles, last year, things completely fell off and went off the rails. But there are key differences here. The Eagles struggled because they lost both coordinators to head coaching jobs, and they lost key pieces to their defense. Though I will say that is part of the Super Bowl hangover, right? Super Bowl curses, you get there and then you lose your best guy. So that has to be baked into this equation. I don't like that it's sort of like, we can't remove that. That's part of it. Falcons lose their spark because Kyle Shanahan leaves. Again, these are the curses of having a Super Bowl bound and appearing team. But this Niners squad, I'm not buying it. They have the entire core group running it back. Eric Armstead, really the only big departure personnel-wise. That'll be a loss for sure. They add Leonard Floyd, though. Collins, Campbell, they strengthen the defense. Plus, they get Hufanga back, okay? He missed the entire second half of the season. This roster is in great shape. They did not lose any coaches to head coaching jobs. And that's a huge difference as the aforementioned Kyle Shanahan and both coordinators with the Eagles and whatever weird magic, cursory that went on with that Eagle squad that we'll never know about until Omaha Productions makes a documentary in about 20 years about the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. The Niners, they have Sorensen taken over at DC for Steve Wilks. I think they'll probably go pretty well because they're loaded. I know you can point to 2020 and say, well, what happened to Kyle Shanahan when they went 6-10 that year after that loss to Kansas City in the Super Bowl the year before in Miami? Well, Jimmy Garoppolo missed 10 games. Debo, Kittle, Mostert, they missed at least half the season as well. No one's going to have success with that many injuries. And it has nothing to do with a hangover or a mental, like, we can't get back there and do whatever. Listen, injuries can happen again. It is hard to get back. I'm not saying that it's not going to be hard for them. I'm just saying it's lazy to sort of take it as they're going to collapse just because they went to the Super Bowl. That's what happens after. This team somehow managed to have more stability, continuity, talent, and a truly incredible coach. So we've seen three teams, guys. 3 teams go back and get that Lombardi the year after losing. Most recently, the 2019 Patriots. So it can happen. And I think if any team's sort of equipped to do it, it's this team, especially with the way that the NFC looks right now. All right, I know Kurt's thinking, okay, I'd like the Niners to get there again and win. I don't know if he agrees with me, or is he like, listen, it's Jordan Love time, and these Packers are going to kick everyone's ass and run the gauntlet in the NFC. We'll see. We've got Kurt Benkert on the show. You're going to get to know Jalen Wright as well. Nyheim Hines now running the ball and catching the ball and doing all sorts of things for the Browns as well. But yeah, we're going to have University of Tennessee running back Jalen Wright on after Kurt. Yes, got it. Thank you so much. That's the C block, right? Okay, cool. Okay. Hamilton, where are you on April Fool's-y things?
I am all the way out on all of it. I think most of them are so cheesy, and the ones that aren't are like really mean-spirited.
I remember
it's like hard to find it.
All the years on Good Morning Football, I would just say, hey, Hamilton, I'm staying off Twitter today. So just like, tell me what's real and tell me what's not. Because there was a minute there that it was like all anyone did.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest, you've been susceptible to a few things, even not on April Fool's Day.
I had a weird, this year, I would send, I think I've sent like Hamilton like 6 or 7 things where I'm like, I can't believe, Zach Wilson is a Bronco. And you'd be like, that did not happen. What are you talking about? And I was like, this has to be the A block tomorrow. And you're like, you're an idiot. And that's not a real account. But I think you said that has something to do with just, I think that's the X part of it, I think. Yeah. I'm going to blame Elon Musk here, as always.
That's fair.
That's fair. He created some sort of product where I don't even see the tweets that I follow anymore. I just see like random, acts of nudity and, the extremes of our political climate. That's all I see on my timeline.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so we've got Kurt here. We've got Jalen Wright, Nyheim Hines, loaded guest situation today. And like Beatles said, go women. She ended the last show saying, go women! Because we got the big NCAA thing. I think the show cut her off before she got off. But there's that. Oh, I mean, our parlay stuck. I'm not doing another one. I'm not doing another. I'm done with NCAA. That's something, by the way, I'm not being fooled by NCAA. I'm never filling out a bracket again. April Fool that. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. We'll get into NBA. We'll get into NBA.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
That was your sweet spot last year.
I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Did your Yankees win?
They did. They beat the Astros all 4 games. 4-game sweep.
I feel like it was opening day 20 minutes ago, and I'm looking at, it's like, they're already 4-0 in the division and stuff, and I'm like, there's 4 games that have happened already? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's crazy. It happens fast.
Hilarious and stupid tricks people have fallen for. Let's call somebody and tell them I'm pregnant. Stay tuned for the next break. Okay.
I've gotten that one before.
No, that's like a horrifying thing to do.
Yeah.
Back on Up and Adams, my next guest spent parts of 5 seasons with the Falcons, the Packers, the Niners, and he hosts Pocket Presence on Sleeper, quickly becoming a live stream Madden legend on YouTube and TikTok. I'm not going to say I called that it would happen because it was already happening. But I mean, like a year ago, I was like, Kurt Benkert's about to take over people. Pay attention. Yeah. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. I mean, this is like a weird part. Oh, there goes the camera.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. That's okay. We just like to, it's April Fool's. It's fine. Okay, we are counting down to the draft. It's like 22 days away or something. We were both in Vegas at the Super Bowl. NFL fan experience, always incredible. But then I see this video of you doing their quarterback accuracy challenge. Talk to me about this. Did you get I feel like you got the itch in this moment to go back.
Oh, totally. I mean, I 100% was like, guys, like, I mean, I hadn't really touched a football in a while. And I was like, man, if I just, started training a little bit, could see a comeback tour. But I don't know. I'd have to slow down on the media stuff. And it's obviously going well. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if there's any calls. I definitely made some texts. I will say that. I made some texts.
What do you mean?
Received some texts. I mean, I just, sometimes you got to shoot your shot with old coaches, old friends. And we'll see what happens as training camp rolls through and OTAs pass up and all that good stuff.
Do you have a list of like, could any of the 32 call you and you're like, okay, I'll go try. Maybe that's fate. That's what needs to happen. You miss it that much? Or do you have like
I got a list.
You have a list?
Yeah,
okay.
I got a list.
Are there teams that I like on that list?
What teams do you like?
I like the Niners. I like the Packers, which you've already spent time with. I don't know, can you give me like a hint on one of the teams on your list?
I mean, obviously love Aaron, love the Jets, love what the Falcons are doing down there in Atlanta. That's where I spent most of my career. And they got the gang back together a little bit over there, which has been cool to see. Started covering them a little bit more, but I think for me right now, like I did the practice squad thing for so long, it would have to be the right situation for practice squad. And there's a few that I really like.
I'd say if I were you, Atlanta would be way on my list. Like that sounds like there's a lot of fun toys down there to play, not just in Madden, but in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, they are loaded. And obviously Kirk Cousins is I think he's gonna have a huge year, especially fantasy wise. I think this is like, regardless of how it goes with their wins, losses, playoff run, I think their offense is gonna be really exciting compared to what we've had to watch in the last few years.
You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Have you talked to him? Were you invited to ayahuasca?
I was invited to ayahuasca 2 years ago, and I actually had to call him to turn down the trip because I said yes to the XFL, and then I broke my ribs 10 days later. So I missed the trip, ended up having like an 8-week recovery, and that's, yeah. So I missed that one, but not this summer.
And then he didn't invite you. Yeah. He didn't invite you to this one. I wonder what goes through his head when he's making these plans and invitations.
Well, I mean, he has so many guys. I feel like that, like he becomes friends with and sees life in a similar fashion too, and like gets to enjoy company with. So I've had a lot of time that I've been able to spend with him, and I do not feel any sort of way.
Do you feel like?
I'm sure there'll be another one.
Does this get talked about? Like once the ayahuasca happens and the journey happens, like is it something that he's open in the locker room or on text or whatever in detail and going into?
I mean, he's definitely talked about what it's like, but I think outside of just that experience, whatever it looks like, again, I've never done it. I just think he's very open to like talking and hearing about experiences in general that people have had. And that's kind of the cool part about being friends with him. Like you never know what's going to be talked about or come up in that day at any given time. And he's willing to talk about football experience, life experience, and he likes good conversation. So that's just kind of how he is.
When is he going to re-enter the news cycle is the thing we're talking about every day till training camp starts?
I mean, it's probably soon. Draft season's kind of his thing, isn't it?
Is it?
Every year, is there a receiver taken in the first round? You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like there's less. That's true. There's less time. There's less time where he's not being talked about every day. The ayahuasca thing sort of like came and went. I'm curious to see if he'll rig in headlines. It might just be when that Bakhtiari signing happens. Kurt?
We called it a year ago.
Oh,
we said
shit.
whether it was last year. We'll have to find the clip. It was either. We said if it's not last year, it's going to be this year. And I will say,
go ahead.
I was able to talk to David, and he's feeling really good about where he is in his recovery. He obviously had a bunch of different surgeries throughout the time when he initially got injured, and he is most optimistic about this round of what he's been through.
So you and him back on the Jets. I just Googled his name. 5 potential landing spots for him. Chiefs, Ravens, Cowboys, Jets. Interesting. When that happens, I'm going to lose my mind because that'll be amazing. And you absolutely called it. Now, speaking of the Jets and Aaron and potentially you going there, though I don't consider you like a New Jersey, New York guy. I don't know if that's like your vibe.
It's definitely not my vibe at all. I enjoy the beach. I enjoy the sun. My family really enjoys the South. So,
Atlanta, it is. Okay. I'm just like trying to find things to manifest with you. Okay, so the Jets signed Tyron Smith. They also trade for Eagles defensive end Hassan Reddick, which is nice. So, you know, the Jets fans, they've been hammering Joe Douglas for not doing enough this offseason. They added talent a lot. If you are in that quarterback room or you're Aaron, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else that you want on this roster? Like, what are you waiting on?
I don't know. I mean,
just
you
Bakhtiari.
Obviously, right? Just some friends to join the party. I mean, I could see them. I mean, I know they have pick 10 right now in the draft. Whether they trade up or trade back, who knows? But like, if a guy like Brock Bowers falls to 10, he's such a stud at tight end. I know, like, I'm not a big proponent of taking tight ends in the top 15 or 20, but he seems like a guy that warrants that. And I'm like, man, if you could give him a crazy target at tight end, that changes the dynamic of the offense. I know Nathaniel Hackett loves his tight ends. So I look at a guy like that. I look at, like, does a receiver, one of those top 3 receivers, fall to 10? I don't think you can go wrong stacking a receiver room. If you look at the Bengals, which I know you're a fan of, they're loaded at receiver, and it's benefited Joe Burrow heavily. So could Aaron get his first round drafted receiver, I think, in his career? Maybe. I don't know, but I think their defense was so good last year. They added a few pieces this year. Like, just keep adding to the offense, because the more juice that you give Aaron, the only better the outcome's going to be. So that's how I look at it.
You like this Rome kid out of Washington, huh?
Oh, I love him. Yeah, he's my favorite receiver in this draft.
Do you think he'd be is that somebody Aaron would like?
Yeah, if Rome falls to them, they need to take him. Just watching his film, like, the way that he creates separation at the right time and uses his body and can contort and make back shoulders and everything, it's like, I feel like I'm watching, like, aspects of Devontae Adams' game, which, again, every receiver in the NFL is different.
Wow.
And there's certain styles of receivers that different quarterbacks prefer. And I think Aaron prefers this style of receiver over a guy that's, like, just speedy. Like Tyreek Hill is, I would say, yeah, he can make any quarterback look good. But Aaron is more of a precision type of passer than, like, a go deep and bomb it. And I think this style of receiver fits really well, and Aaron would be able to catch him up to speed. So I don't even think he's going to drop that fall.
Okay, so if we're talking Joe Douglas going all in, and you're telling me we can get a Devontae Adams on a rookie deal for Aaron Rodgers, should they trade up?
I mean, look, if they're going to trade up, I know they'll make somebody happy. And if you can match Garrett Wilson with another receiver that's that dynamic, that takes coverage away from him. They can't just double Garrett Wilson all game long, and then you let him be the best version of himself. Like, last year, he was able to eat with people knowing that was who was going to get fed in the passing game. So if you can bring one more dynamic playmaker, and then you have Mike Williams, who I'm assuming he's going to be healthy this year, like, taking off the top on the other side, I just think that offense looks entirely different than it did last year. I don't know. I think it's worth swinging. Like, you swung for the fences with Aaron's contract. You swung for the fences with the trade. Like, take one more stab at it and go get a stud receiver to add to that offense. And again, like, it's a good thing to have for whenever Aaron is done. You'll have another guy in the system.
And Rome is that guy to you, which now I'm going to be I have to go do a deep dive into him, because I think if what you're saying is true and he's Devontae-ish, then you do make that trade and you get your quarterback, that guy, especially if you're going all in. Okay, so Friday, you've been working so hard. You're insane. You put out ranks for this crop of quarterbacks in the draft. So if I'm looking at this list correctly, you have Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams.
I do.
What makes him the biggest organization changer for you?
Yeah, I think it's how he plays the game, and it's not to say that, like, Caleb Williams is not going to have success if he goes to Chicago. I think he's going to do well there. Year one might be a little tough to transition with what he played in college scheme-wise to this, what the NFL will be, but for me, Jaden, what he can do with his feet and how he can change the game like that, you don't really see guys like that come around so often, and be able to also do it with his arm. So if you took his legs out of the game, he's a really accurate passer. He can, like, he's in time, in rhythm, he's accurate. He does all the right things, and he's only going to get better in that aspect. Like, he's way better of a passer coming out of college than Lamar Jackson was. And you've seen the growth that Lamar Jackson had from rookie year in the NFL passing to where he is now. And I think Jaden Daniels is already ahead of that in the passing game. So if you give him a situation that's not absolutely miserable and he can go change the game with his feet a little bit, I think he can have a lot of success. I do think Caleb Williams, though, is going to be fine in Chicago. I'm more concerned about year one. Does the transition happen quick? Is he able to get them over that hump of, like, 10 wins? Mm-hmm. And are they able to keep the coaching staff with him? Because if they change coaching staffs, and after his first year, like that's going to also create just some problems, I think, going forward. So
it'll just be the same. Can he overcome?
Yeah.
You know, like what could you possibly expect him to do if that's the situation?
Exactly. So I think, again, with quarterbacks more than anything, it's so situational.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, a guy like Drake May, I have in the tier 3, because I think for him to have the most success, he can't go somewhere and have to be the savior year one. I don't think that sets him up for success at all. I think he has the tools. He just needs like a year or two of like sharpening and refining, and then he could be a guy. But yeah, that's how I look at it.
You've got, there's the engagement around Drake May with stuff you put out is interesting. So, well, what's going, what is it? So everyone knows that doesn't follow you on Twitter, so your stuff, what is your Drake May take?
My take is he has a high ceiling. He's got a big arm. He's kind of sloppy with his feet and really inconsistent as a passer. And he misses like just a lot of throws that I don't think a top 10 quarterback should miss. And that's the thing in the NFL. Like, most people can make the crazy plays a time or two here and there. And he does that every single game in his college tape, but he just misses the easy plays that I know in the NFL get a little bit harder. And if you're not on schedule in the NFL, like, no quarterback can live in that danger zone of needing 15-yard chunks every few plays because you missed a 5-yard out. And I mean, you look at even guys like Mahomes thrived at the end of the year because he started taking what the defense gave him the rest of the way, gave his receivers time to catch up. And then when he needed to make a play in like crunch time, he did that. And he's the best in like last few minutes of the game, situational football, but he didn't try to do too much. And in the middle of the year, he felt like he needed to compensate by watching his film. And that's when he started throwing interceptions. Like, they lost to the Raiders. Like, they had some like weird games in the middle, and then he got right back to doing what he does best. And I think a guy like Drake May could benefit from a Mahomes situation where you watch an Alex Smith for a year and you see how they do it. How do they operate? Like, guys that don't have maybe the most talent in the world, but they're really good on first down, second down. They move the chains on third down, and they're efficient. Like, Drake May needs to add that into his game, and once he does, then sky's the limit. But it's really hard to add that to your game when you're asked to be the savior from day one. And so that's kind of where my whole analysis with him came from. And
then you had this blank stare emoji, I guess is how I can describe it, when the whole squad was obviously at the pro day.
Yeah.
So him to the Giants, not fun for you?
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be stuck in a Daniel Jones situation. Like, you look at Daniel Jones, like, did he have the best year last year? No. Like, has he shown promise? Yes. He's made plays. But, like, who was he throwing to all year long? And the whole offense ran through Saquon Barkley, and, like, he's gone. And I'm like, if you're Drake May.
Can he sit a year, though, if they have Daniel Jones?
Can he sit a year?
Yeah.
He probably could. But I also think their roster, like, they need a lot of work. And so I'm like, if I'm Drake May, and I'm like, dude, could I go to the Vikings like a little later and sit a year behind Darnold? I'd rather do that than go to the Giants and sit a year with the way that their offense is, their situation. Like, is it kind of hot seat, kind of not? Like, I think Kevin O'Connell is probably a better match for getting a guy up to speed. That's why I actually loved Drake May to the Rams like way later, because I think being able to sit behind a guy like Stafford, be with a guy like McVay, get into a scheme that's
right,
a little catered to him. But I don't think he's going to drop that far because he does have so much upside. But I would hate to see his career like not take off because of a situation that he wasn't prepared for.
It's a good point. And if they take him, they can't take that wide receiver that they so desperately need, and they sort of punt on it. And I don't know if I have faith that the Giants can do what McVay just does perennially and find guys late to get it done. So it's not the best situation for anybody. Like, if you're a quarterback in that room, you're like, God damn it, do not call my name, Giants.
You're also playing the Cowboys, the Eagles, and now the Commanders 6 times a year. Like, it's
okay,
just,
we're worried about the Commanders? Okay, Kurt.
I'm just saying, I'm sipping the Commanders juice a little bit.
Same.
I love Dan Quinn so much. And he's a guy who kept me around in Atlanta. Like, he was so good to me in my early part of my career. Went and crushed it with Dallas. Like, their defense is going to be better this year. They have playmakers on offense, and they're only going to get better. And I don't know. I think that division is going to be interesting to watch, but it's definitely going to be a dogfight. It's going to feel like, in my opinion, the AFC North.
I got 2 more for you. I want to talk a little Packers here, because an extension for Jordan Love, that's going to be the next thing on the list for our Packers here this offseason. The new CBA makes it kind of weird, a little interesting. Having a quarterback sit for 3 years and now having to pay him based off of 1 season. Are you seeing any risk for the Packers? Things that they should be hesitancy when it comes to Jordan Love?
Yeah, I mean, again, you have you really have like the last 8 to 10 games of sample size, because the beginning part of the year, can't really judge him based on that because the receivers were so young. They weren't running the right routes. Like the offense looked abysmal. And then this last playoff stretch, you also had a running back that ran for 100 yards a game every single game for the last 6 weeks. And it's like, he's way better than most of the league, but also stars kind of felt like they aligned a little bit this year, but he also should get paid. But you only have 1 year. I mean, it's like, it's so hard. So for him, I would be like, look, I just balled out and you need to pay me. And then for them, they're like, well, like, dang, we could get into a Daniel Jones situation, but I think Jordan's a better player. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of, and you know how the Packers do business. Yes. Obviously, you saw the quote with LaFleur not knowing that Aaron Jones was going to be gone.
Yes.
Whether it's true or not, like, that's just kind of how they go.
Do you think that's true?
I just don't see how. Like, I'm not going to say that Matt's lying at all. Like, I find that so hard to, like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
He lied to me. He lied to me once and told me he doesn't get his eyebrows done, and he does.
Oh,
so
okay,
it's
that's
like,
definitely a lie.
It's kind of a character flaw, right? Like if April
maybe
Fools,
he's just deferring
joke's on
to. You. Yeah. Okay. Well, then maybe that's the case.
Maybe he lied about it. It's hard to believe. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Aaron Jones was the lifeblood of that team, lifeline of that team, and in the locker room, like even if you just look at what he meant off the field, and they say how much he meant off the field publicly and how much they value that in the organization, I find it really hard to believe that head coach, play caller had no idea that it broke until the internet saw it. I don't know. That's out of my pay grade. I'm staying away from that stuff.
I get it. Okay, we're going to take a break on the TV side, but I want to ask you still something about Madden. Yeah. Ooh, you're going to love this. And in the break, we'll be right back. We will have Jalen Wright on the show, but let's keep this going with Kirk. So lots more to get to. You love Spencer Rattler, which I love.
Yes.
He's going to be on my show. What should I ask Spencer Rattler?
Ooh, okay. Ask him about his college scheme and the 7-man pro and 3-man routes. Just ask him about that. That's the number one thing I saw watching film.
Tell me about your. I mean, okay, I will try. I'll try to. I'll put that in there for sure. Okay, I want to ask you the other thing about the XFL format for kickoff returns. Okay, next season.
Yes.
You played in the XFL, like you said, back in 2023. You didn't go on ayahuasca. You literally did. You missed the epic experience of ayahuasca to go to the XFL. But I really want to know, not about the new rule. I want to know how it affects Madden. And by me, I mean all of my producers, because is this a coder's worst nightmare right now?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't had to touch that for the last 20-something years. So they're going to have to figure it out. It's going to create some more work for them for sure. And if they're just finding out about the rule, that's going to, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they had to push some things a little bit or expedite it or get some more engineers on the task. But hopefully they knew about it, because that's a lot of, I don't know how much work that is, but it seems like a lot. So, yeah, the play is going to be interesting.
Chances Bakhtiari ends up a Jet. Where are you at? Where's your temperature right now?
I'm going to say 69%.
Oh, 69%. Okay, Gronkowski sounds good. Kurt, you are the absolute best. By the way, I don't think I missed you saying Kirk Cousins is going to go off this year.
He is. I mean, if you look at just, again, guys are going to get like their Josh Allens and their guys like that in fantasy. Like, I'm going to just wait for Kirk Cousins to feel like I can snipe him in a middle round, because there's no way that he doesn't have at least a top 10 year statistically. And I don't know. I'm big about fantasy implications. I know everyone cares about fantasy. Yeah. And
how much
of
that?
I'm about
how much
value,
of
guys.
that is because you love Raheem Morris, who you know well?
I would say I actually just like Raheem Morris for the rest of the guys. I think Kirk brings a different like driver to that team. I think Kirk's going to be able to take control of the offense. I just like what Raheem does for the cohesiveness of the team and the details and the energy. Like, people want to play hard for Raheem. And like, you look at guys like Grady Jarrett, who have just been like consistent their whole career.
Yeah.
Guys like him play hard every single game. Like, he's going to be playing hard for Raheem Morris. Like, guys were putting their bodies on the line for Raheem before he got let go by the Falcons.
Right.
I mean, he was up for renewal before they hired Arthur Smith, and they chose to go Arthur Smith instead of Raheem. Like, he had interviews. Guys know what he meant to the locker room and what he's been able to do. So
you're the best. Good luck on those phone calls that you are dealing with. I'm wishing the best for you always. You know I'm your biggest fan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
But you got to still come on the show.
See ya.
All or I'll be very upset.
Will do.
All right. Well, love hanging out with Kurt Benkert, guys. Make sure. Okay, got it. Yep. All right. Oh, look at that movement going on. We have what a treat this is, one of the fastest off-the-step ball carriers that this draft has to offer. He led the Volunteers in rush yards, not one, but 2 seasons in a row, becoming their first 1,000-yard rusher since 2015. A beautiful, sterling 7.4 yards per carry this year. University of Tennessee running back Jalen Wright, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Is it morning? Where are you?
Yeah, it's morning. It's like 11 o'clock here.
That's morning?
I'm in Tennessee. Yeah.
What time,
12 o'clock yet.
Jalen, what time do you wake up in the morning if you don't have anything to do?
Probably about like 10, like early, like 10 o'clock, like 10, 20 or something like that.
That's beautiful. You better do that as long as you can, because some of those NFL coaches are not going to have that once you get drafted and start your career. But we should not go any further. Happy birthday to you. It is your 21st birthday, and you woke up to do a show. Look at you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What are the plans?
I ain't really got no plans today. I'm just chilling, working out, just doing the usual.
I'm sorry, 21st birthday. I barely remember my 21st birthday because I had those kind of plans. No fun plans?
Nah, not at this moment. Nah, not right now.
Well, you made it through the Combine. You have a lot to look forward to. We're so happy to get to know you. A lot of NFL fans, of course. We got the scouts, the decision makers checking out the show. And this, of course, will be all over Twitter. And everybody after the Combine is just thinking, what a stud. Second best 40 time with the running back group. Second best broad jump in the, not just like in the history, Jalen, of backs at the Combine. Fastest 5 yards out the gate. How proud were you of this performance?
I was proud. It's just something I've been dreaming of, all my life, and just accomplishment. What I'm saying, getting to the Combine, and being able to just show the world, what I could do. So, it's just a great experience, a great moment, and I'm forever grateful.
I've been talking to some people, sending some texts, asking some decision makers about you, because it's an interesting running back class that there's not a clear-cut one when you look at it. And you are shooting up the ranks. People have noticed what you did at the Combine throughout your career as well. What do you want people to know about you to put you over the edge to be that first RB taken? I'm
a running back, that just has all the attributes, for a great running back. I feel like I got the long speed, the contact balance, just explosiveness, 3 down back, somebody that could do everything. I'm just that explosive weapon that, somebody that needs on their team. So that's why I feel like I'm number one.
So your superpower is explosiveness, you think?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's
somebody that can do everything.
It makes sense. 7.4 yards per carry. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Your yards after contact, though, is what everybody, I think, should know about you to set you apart. 4.3.
Right.
That's right. 4.35 yards after contact on each run. 96th percentile of all runners. How do you develop the toughness? Where does that toughness, up here, out here, come from?
It's just a mindset, just before games, I just reflect on, all the things I've been through in life and, just situations. And, I just reflect on family, all the work that I put in before the season, just to let that dog out before every game. So, it's just a mindset, dog mentality, just a mindset not to be, refuse to be taken down, mindset to, when I break a run, I'm not going to get caught, just a mindset, just to be the best on that field on that, exact game. So.
Is it true that you model your game after Alvin Kamara?
Yes, ma'am. I model my game after Alvin Kamara, Adrian Peterson, Christian McCaffrey, just guys that I feel like that, I run alike and, have similar styles too. So.
Okay, well, Tennessee alum, I get it, right? But if we're looking at the comps here, what part of his game inspires you the most?
Just the way he's so patient. Just the way he's a patient runner, somebody that's smooth, somebody that can catch the ball at the backfield, 3 down back, just somebody who's just all around back, he's very sneaky athletic, somebody who has great balance, so that's what I really model my game after, the attributes that he has, that I have.
Jalen, your work sort of speaks for itself, that 7.4, that 4.35 after contact, all of that, watching your tape, looking at you at the combine. But I like all the other stuff. I think that matters. I think it takes something like up here to make it in the NFL. It's what I see with all the best players. And I look for the things, and what I really like is when your running back coach, Jerry Mack, says that you study running backs from like decades ago. Talk to me about that. Walter Payton, TD. What made you start doing that and become such a historian of the game?
Just this past off season, I just wanted to, just study the best of the game. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to improve my game, make that big jump like I did, you know what I'm saying? So what I did, I was just going to film, just watching great backs, you know what I'm saying? Watching all the great things that they do. Just watching how they run, just watching how they approach the game, just watching just how everything just flows, you know what I'm saying, within a running back. So that's why I watch these top backs like that.
Who's your favorite to watch?
I like Walter Payton. My favorite back all time probably is Adrian Peterson. I watched a lot of him this off season. So just that's somebody I could really see myself being like, really explosive. Somebody that could pass pro. Catch the ball in the backfield. Just somebody who runs hard and angry. So that's why he's my best back of all time.
I can't wait to see where you go in the NFL. What are you thinking about, like, day in, day out? Obviously, it's your birthday today. You wake up, you have a workout, you're worried about this and that. Like, what is the thought that you have most often as you're sitting here in this weird spot where you've done the work, you're waiting to see where you go?
I just think about just keeping the main thing, just worrying about what's going on today, worrying about keeping my body healthy, staying in shape, just worrying about, think about all the great things I'm going to do in the league once I get on the team, just living up to the expectations, just being the dog I am. So, I'm just ready to see where I land and just ready to get to work.
I can't wait to see where I draft you on my fantasy football team. I can't wait. It's almost here. It's just a couple weeks away. Before we let you go, we want to get to know you just a little bit better. We have a little game my producers whipped up. It's called Right or Wrong. So I'm going to read a statement. You tell me if it's right or wrong with Jalen Wright. April Fool's Day. It's today, so it's your birthday too. Is April Fool's Day the best holiday to have your birthday on, right or wrong?
Wrong.
Why?
It was always April Fool's. I mean, every time I tell somebody my birthday, oh, you was born in April Fool's. So, I mean.
And April Fool's is lame. Wait, tell me this, because I'm like an old lady. Is April Fool's still a thing for like your generation? No, right? Nobody cares about April Fool's. Are people pranking each other still?
Not that I know of, but I know people still do that. You know what I'm saying? April Fool's. So.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, you're from Raleigh, North Carolina. You grew up a Panthers fan, right or wrong?
Wrong. I'm actually from Durham. I mean, it's the same thing, Raleigh-Durham. Not a Panthers fan. I grew up a Saints fan.
Oh, Alvin Kamara. It all makes sense. It all makes sense here. Okay, we got Miles Sanders. We got Chuba. How is running back by committee with those two and Bryce Young sound? Do you think Carolina would be a good fit for you? Or the Saints better, right or wrong?
Right. I mean, I feel like I'll be able to fit anywhere.
Good answer.
You know what I'm saying? Just as long as I'm behind, some big guys that's making movement up front, I'm gonna do my thing anywhere. So.
I didn't know you were a Saints fan, but I do know that you're friends with Jalen Hyatt. I know that you're close with him. Jalen Hyatt has the best hands on the New York Giants, right or wrong?
Right.
Tell me about him. It's your boy.
He's that's somebody, you know what I'm saying, that I came up with in this program, at Tennessee. Somebody that was my roommate, somebody that I built a close bond with that'll last forever. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's a brother to me. So, he's just my guy. That's somebody that gave me advice on this process and how to take everything. So, that's my boy. He taught me a lot. So I'm grateful for that.
You look up to AK, of course. In both of your track star primes, could you beat Alvin Kamara in a 100-yard dash, right or wrong?
Right.
You could? He's pretty quick.
I believe so. Yeah, he is quick, but when they get to track, that's a whole different story.
Your dad is your biggest hype man on Twitter, right or wrong?
Right, for sure.
What makes you laugh? Your dad's just constantly hyping you up. Man, I'm done talking. Let's play ball. Ground zero. If you know, you know. What does he know?
He's just that's my biggest fan for sure. That's somebody that, you know what I'm saying, that introduced me to the game probably like when I was 4 years old. Somebody that had a vision that I was going to be where I am now. You know what I'm saying, where I'm at today. You know, so that's just somebody who was always believing in me. Somebody who's pushing me. Times that I wanted to give up. You know what I'm saying? He didn't let me. So it was grateful to have him in my life. And it's just, I'm ready to just bless my whole family. So.
You've got quicker feet than Marshawn Lloyd, right or wrong?
I'm gonna be real. I'll probably say wrong. He's real quick. You know, I'll give him that. He's real quick. I mean, I'm still quick, but you know what I'm saying? He's really quick. That's what makes him him. You know what I'm saying? That's my boy. Proud of him. And I wish him the best in this process. So.
I like how supportive you are of everyone. I really like that. I think that's going to go a long way in an NFL locker room near you. Last one, you're interested in a sports broadcasting situation after your career, so you're starting media training early and promise to come back when you're a big superstar. Right or wrong?
Right. I'm definitely interested in doing like sports broadcasting and stuff. That's really what I tried to like major in. I'm majoring in sports management, but I mean, I'm gonna try to get into broadcasting and you know, all that after football. So.
Well, you're killing it, and you're so genuine, and such a delight to talk to you. I'm so excited for your future and all of that. What do you want for your birthday? What's your birthday wish?
I don't really have a wish. I mean, I just wish to have a great day. You know what I'm saying? I'm just blessed to just make it to see another year. So I'm grateful. I mean, I didn't really ask for nothing for my birthday. It's not really I want or need. I'm just blessed to be here. So.
Is he the first running back taken off the board? I'm sure he'll go where he's supposed to. Blessed to be here. You are where your feet are, which is what all my favorite NFL players always say. Jalen Wright, good luck to you, and enjoy every minute.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. You're going to take my job someday. Jalen Wright, running back out of Tennessee, coming to an NFL team near you, maybe the Saints. That'd be interesting. Maybe with Jalen Hyatt. Hamilton, I really liked.
It was awesome. And yeah, I mean, that's a good point. The Giants, after losing Saquon, you know, they got Devin Singletary in, but that could be a good landing spot.
I get a couple of them.
That'd be fun.
Who last week told us that the Giants like need a receiver, like that they don't have a number one? Somebody was adamant about it.
Yeah. And then was it Deshaun? I'm trying to remember.
Maybe. And then Twitter was sort of like telling me that it was disrespectful to the guys they have. And I was like, oh, I think it might have been something I said about get yourself your Victor Cruz or get yourself your who was I talking to?
Yeah, because they brought up Eli and how Eli needed that top receiver. And yeah, so you brought up Plexico and Victor Cruz. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I got grief for that because they do have Hyatt. But I mean, if you have, you just heard Kurt. You heard Kurt saying it's nice to have Garrett Wilson, but if you can have a Rome, you'd take it, right? So like it's the same sort of idea.
Yeah,
I thought Kurt
you want to surround.
Kurt's so good.
He really is, and yeah, you want to surround your young quarterback with as many weapons as you possibly can, or any quarterback. You know, there's no. I don't think it makes sense to pass on a weapon at any point. We've seen, he mentioned the Bengals, you know, they didn't pass on Jamar Chase just because they had T. Higgins.
Yeah. Yeah, that is what he was saying, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Did he just sign on late? Oh, no. What were you going to say, Hemi?
I was saying, I think it was Yogi that you were talking to.
Oh, no.
No?
No. I forget who it was. But it was a...
Oh, it was Kyle Rudolph.
Oh, it was Kyle Rudolph. It was about getting him a weapon because he was so adamant about it. That's exactly what it was. Kyle's really great, too.
Yeah, he really is.
Kirk Cousins for sure is going to kill it this year.
I'm excited, and I'm excited
if you're Kurt, you know Atlanta, you know, of course that's where I should have thought of that right away when he was like flirting with the idea of coming back. Like, Atlanta would be. It's so funny that's where, like, I'm sure if you asked a bunch of quarterbacks where they'd go, they'd say Atlanta. That division, F yeah.
And those weapons, Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I'm excited for those guys too.
Yeah, you loaded.
Yeah,
that'd be. It's funny how that'd be the choice. All right. Next guest played his first 5 NFL seasons for the Colts and Bills, and for his 6th, he's joining the Cleveland Browns. Triple threat out the backfield, a runner, a receiver, a return guy, and the national spokesman for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, Nyheim Hines. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. Thank you for having me on.
Where are you?
Los Angeles.
Oh, you couldn't come in studio to hang out with your girl, huh?
I guess I could have. I guess I've been in hiding the last few months, but we can still work something out.
Wow. What are you doing in LA?
I've been doing my ACL rehab out here. So I've been out here for like most of the surgery.
Do you like LA?
I love it. It's a little bit expensive, but the weather is something that you can trade for.
Yeah, that's fair. It's been raining a little bit, but I'm glad you're out here. That's amazing. Okay, you mentioned your rehab. You're always honest with me. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better than I did even a month ago. There's been progress. I don't wish the ACL surgery on anybody. It's tough the first 2 or 3 months, but you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel in month 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 3 months ago, I didn't think I was walking well or running well, and now I'm doing both those things. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the people I work with and thankful for my recovery process so far.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. You're coming off a knee injury. You just said you're feeling great. The amount of work it takes, not even just physically, we were just talking about Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's going through that at his age. But it's something that's gotten a little, not easier, but there's great medicine. You're going to be brand new and amazing, even though it was, of course, challenging. What was the time away from the field like for you?
It was honestly very hard. It was hard to watch Buffalo last year, especially when they played the Chiefs in the playoffs, just knowing that's what I came there for, to try to help them get over the hump. That was tough to miss. And then honestly, just mentally, it was my first year not playing really. I've missed 5 games in my entire life all the way to this point now until this season. So not really used to being on the sideline, not really used to being hurt, but I made the most of my time, made the most of the opportunities I was given, and I made the most of what I could do with the situation.
It was unique in the sense that it sort of occurred off the field in the off season. You were with the Buffalo Bills at that time. How do you feel sort of looking back? Now you're in LA, there's a lot to look forward to, you're on a new team, which by the way, you're in your 6th year. That's absolutely crazy to me. I can't even do the math that it's already your 6th year in the NFL. But when you think about it now, how do you feel about how the Bills handled your situation?
It's business. Both sides could have been better and worse, but there's no hard feelings. It's how things work out. I mean, they have a cap space issue. They had to figure things out, and they moved on. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how the business goes. No hard feelings towards them. They have none towards me, and it's still a family-oriented thing at the end of the day. So not really mad about it. Things happen, and when one door closes, the Lord opens another door. So I guess this is how it was supposed to happen.
What did you learn from that whole? Both sides could have handled things differently. What did you learn?
Well, I think personally, it's not even really both sides. It's me. I could be better at not putting myself in that situation. It was a freak accident, but I've learned my lessons from that mistake. I won't put myself in a position to even miss the season off the field. And based off that, I mean, I could say whatever I want to about the Bills, but it's really on me. I shouldn't have put myself in that situation.
Well, now the Lord opened the door to you and Chubb. Okay, you were in a running back room with him. I'm serious. Did you have a connection with him, or did you reach out to his cousin / your former Wolfpack? By the way, go Wolfpack yesterday. Your former teammate Bradley Chubb to get any inside info on Cleveland? What do you got?
Well, I knew Chubb some because of Bradley Chubb. So and we came out the same year in 2018. So I got to know him really well. Some of the running backs, Todd Gurley, Keith Marshall, he played with at Georgia. So we have a lot of overlapping connections to know each other. So I've seen him already. We've done some rehab together, so it's great. And I'm excited for what he brings. I'm excited for Jerome Ford and all the other backs. I'm excited to go in and try to compliment those guys.
How are you going to compliment those guys? And what can you tell me about your excitement about Deuce Staley?
I'm excited about Deuce. Deuce actually did my pro day when I was coming out, so I was always excited. I was hoping that he would become my coach one day. He was a former player. I watched him play, so that's always great when you have that in a coach. And then as far as complimenting the Browns, Jerome and Chubb, they're over 200 pounds. They're bruisers of runners. I can get my nose dirty too, but I'm looking to compliment them in the passing game. I can run the ball well, but we all know I'm known for my receiving ability. So I'll make sure I can go out there on third down, pick up the blitz when they're not in, make sure I go out there and show my hands, and make sure I make a big splash in the return game. I've been hearing the whole return specialist thing. I'm not that. I believe I play offense, but returning is something I love to do as well. But I like to do both.
You know, you're with Nick Chubb. You guys clearly know each other. You're going to complement each other. Scary injury for him last year. How is he feeling?
He's feeling good. I mean, he's had an injury like that before. So if anybody's coming back from it, first off, it's him. He's been working his butt off, and he's doing well. And he's one of the hardest workers I've seen and known over my years in the NFL. So if somebody's coming back from it, I believe it's Chubb. I cannot wait for him to come back. I'm super excited and grateful for Cleveland taking a chance on me and giving me the opportunity to be a Brown.
The quarterback room added another quarterback, one of the more fascinating personalities in the NFL, Jameis Winston. Any interactions with him yet?
Oh, yeah, we got famous Jameis. I was super excited. I don't think I've ever been more excited to have a teammate. He actually reached out to me.
This is your quarterback.
I love it. I've been a fan of him since he was at Florida State. My uncle loves him. When he used to score touchdowns, we screamed famous Jameis. And he reached out to me about a week ago, so I got to connect with him some. I'm excited just to meet with him.
What did he say?
I've been doing rehab.
Give me that. What did he say to you? Tell me right now.
He just told me he's been following me since I was at NC State. He's super excited to have me, and I could be a key to helping us win some big games. And it's really like that. And like him the same way, if he's on or off the field, his leadership will help us win games, and his play as well if it comes to that. So I think we're both excited to be added to the Browns. We're both going to try to add our own little spin to the team and hopefully be positive additions to his locker room.
I can't wait to see what happens here. You're with the Bills. You've been there a long time. You had a great time there. That is a team with Super Bowl hopes, contention, all of that. They lose, they fall short. When you look at that team, what is missing? What do they need?
The Bills, I don't think they really need anything. At least just look, even since 2020, I was on the team then, but it's just they just have to win the moments. Just in the moments, you got to show up. You have to make the field goal, do certain things to just not put yourself in certain positions. I think in most teams in the playoffs, they're one play away or two plays away, and that's just how it's been for Buffalo. And it seems like unless you're Kansas City, a lot of those breaks haven't been going people's way since Patrick Mahomes has gotten in the league. So I feel like everybody in the AFC is trying to emulate what the Chiefs have had, and we know they're the team to beat.
So basically, Mahomes has to retire.
I mean, Mahomes has to retire, or like we're at the pull of Joe Burrow and beat him. That's like him and Brady are the only people who beat him in the playoffs. So hopefully Deshaun and the Browns can add on to that.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for another chapter in your story. You're amazing. I love the shirt you're wearing. Go NC State. I don't even care about the tourney, but I'll root for them because of you.
Thank you, and go Pack.
Please hit me up that you're in LA. Rude. Don't you know I buy dinner and drinks? I'm the best friend you have. I'm like your big sister. All right, we'll talk soon.
Yes, ma'am. We'll talk soon.
Bye.